Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's a21bravo here. Today we're gonna strip down this engine. If you watched the previous video, we started going through and getting everything apart. I did find a spun crank bearing, so I do have a new crankshaft and pistons and rods on the way. I'm gonna put that thing in there, but today I'm gonna strip it down to pretty much bare and put the new camshaft in. So here we got a Fragile Honda with the car. This is from Jegs. This is new camshaft. This is basically what they call the sloppy stage 2 camshaft. Pretty cheap, pretty decent. So we're gonna throw that thing in. I'll get it back out of the way and then let's get started. Got the water pump off. I think I'm just gonna start going through and start stripping everything else off. Might be the first time ever. I think I can get them all out without snapping them. Look at that. Didn't snap one. Wonder if I can get lucky like that on the other side. Alright, so I'm going to take this crank bolt out. It's got a big socket in there on the crank. I'm not really going to use this crank, so really don't care that much. Hi babe, how are you? How was school? Good. Good?
I had reading buddies.
You had reading buddies? That's good. So we got that out. Now I'm going to grab the 3-jaw puller and then we'll pull this thing off. Just going to start cranking this thing till the pulley comes off. All right, 10 mil. Looks like it needs to be cleaned a little bit. It's kind of dirty. Yeah, I want to say that this was done already. I don't think that's a factory gasket. But take the oil pump off. I'm really curious. I wanna check this thing and make sure the pump's gonna be good. It said it had low oil pressure, but I'd like to make sure that it's not actually the pump. I have a hard time believing it's the pump, but maybe if there was a bunch of metal shavings that went through it, I don't know. I just don't think that pump would fail that easily. Now I'll just pull this off. Set this over somewhere else. Alright, so now that that's done, I'm going to flip the engine over and then I'll probably pull the heads off because I'm going to start pulling pistons and everything out. So I'll flip it over and then I'll be able to get the cam out once I get all the rockers and push rods and stuff out. Kind of did this a little backwards, but it was already upside down, so I decided to do it that way. It's so dirty, there's like chunks of crap all over the place. I guess we can go ahead and start pulling these pistons out. Where we want it, we'll flip it back over. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to basically just pull everything out that I need to get the crank out. Alright, so I'm just going through pulling all these rods out. Right on my foot. That was sweet. Alright, so that should be the last step, and then this crank should come out. There we go. I'm gonna give this camshaft a spin. Push all the lifters out, then I should be able to slide this cam right out. Well, there's my problem right there. Actually, I have one cam bearing that is connected to the cam. So that's probably where the low oil pressure issue is coming from. That's why it's not letting me push it out, because the bearing is actually hitting the extra lifters. So now that fucker's not going to come out past the other bearing. What a little scuzzy motherfuzzer. Scuzzly fuzzle it. Well guys, we got some good news and we got some bad news. The good news is I figured out my oiling issue, but the bad news is we got a cam bearing that is stuck to the camshaft. See down here, this is one spot where the bearing would normally be. This is another spot here, but you can see that the bearing is actually stuck. So this is not good for a couple of reasons. One being that I can't get it out because it catches on the other bearing. And the other being it might have messed up the block on the inside. So not really sure. The outside of the bearing doesn't look like it's very tore up or anything, so it might still be good. But I really didn't want to do anything with the cam bearings. I feel like I'm going to have to now. So I'm going to work on trying to get this thing out, but I'm pretty confident, I guess I should say, that that was the oiling issue, because right after that cam bearing, so if you look at where this cam bearing was, it was right above this crank bearing. So this crank bearing is also kind of bad, pitted and junk. And that would take us to right here, where this was actually where the crank bearing was spun. You can see the difference between the two here. This one was spun, this one is bad. So this is the side that wasn't getting oil because the cam bearing was spinning, and it was causing a lack of oil to these two sections. So basically there's a lube hole right here that's supposed to be lined up with the hole in the block for oiling, and then the cam spins around that, so there's a layer of oil in between the bearing and the camshaft, and then the oil will flow through this hole too to lubricate everything else. So as that cam bearing is spinning inside there, it's causing a lack of lubrication, still getting some oil through it, which is not like why it was a catastrophic failure. Still getting some, but it's not enough to keep it properly lubricated. I feel like I understand the oiling issue now. Now we just gotta fix it. All right guys, so the block is fully disassembled. Everything is taken down. I just got a couple more bearings in there and the sensors are still in the block. I am a little bit disappointed that I found that bearing issue. Not sure exactly what I'm gonna do yet with that. If I'm just gonna order a new set of bearings, or I'm considering taking it to a machine shop and just have them put new bearings in it, line hone it, and actually clean the block up, because this thing is like completely dirty, and it might actually be kind of cool to get it cleaned up and actually looking nice, and then put it back in, and then use that opportunity to get a good set of bearings put back in there. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.